Imagine this. You have finished your homework, but now you are talking about it with your friend. How do you say it correctly? I had completed my homework or I completed my homework. Which one is correct? Share your answers in the comments and I will explain at the end. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. I am happy that in the world of tenses, we have completed 8 lessons. Now it's time for another advanced tense. Today, we will learn about past perfect tense. We will understand what it is, its structure in positive, negative, and question forms. Look at some common mistakes and share some pro tips. So, without further ado, let's get started. What is the past perfect tense? The past perfect tense is used to indicate actions or events that were completed before another action or time in the past. It helps to show the sequence of events and emphasizes the completion of one action before another. Imagine a timeline where the left side represents the past, the middle represents the present, and the right side represents the future. The past perfect tense describes actions that happened before another action in the past. For example, she had lived in France for 10 years before moving to Spain. These both actions are in past, but the first action is of living in France and the second action is moving to Spain. So one action completed before another past action. When do we use the past perfect tense? It's generally used to describe number 1 actions completed before another action in the past. For example, I had finished my homework before dinner. I have already finished the homework, which is the first action, before another action, before eating the dinner. Number 2 actions completed before a specific time in the past. When I got home at 9 p.m., they had left by 8 p.m. Here, the action is completed at a specific time. Also note, we have also mentioned here another action. And number 3, conditional statements. The past perfect tense is used in the third conditionals to talk about hypothetical situations in the past that did not happen. For example, if I had known about the meeting, I would have attended. So these are the main usages of past perfect tense. Now let's learn the magic formula for the past perfect tense. The formula is subject plus had plus past participle of the verb. For the regular verbs, past participle form is formed by ed. For example, watch becomes watched. But for irregular verbs, the past participle is not fixed. For example, eat is eaten. To know more about past participles, please check the description of the video. Let's take some subjects and verbs to understand this. Subjects I, you, we, they, he, she, and it. Base verbs eat, watch, and study. Past participles eaten, watched, studied. Let's do a match now. I had eaten, you had watched. We had studied, they had eaten. He had watched, she had studied. It had eaten. What if we want to make sentences negative? Easy. We add not after had. So the structure becomes subject plus had not or hadn't plus past participle of the verb. For example, I had eaten becomes I had not eaten or I hadn't eaten. He had watched becomes he had not watched. She had studied becomes she had not studied. Now, are you ready to turn a sentence into a question? Here is the structure. Had plus subject plus past participle of the verb. For example, had you eaten breakfast? Had he watched the movie? Now, let's look into WH question. These questions use question words like what, when, where, why, who, which, and how to ask for more specific information. Here is the structure: WH plus had plus subject plus past participle of the verb. For example, where had you traveled? What had she done? Now, let's practice. I will give you a verb and you will make a sentence out of it. The verb is study. Can you make a sentence with I? I had studied for the exam. Now, let's make it negative. I hadn't studied for the exam. Can you turn it into a question? Had I studied for the exam? Can you turn it into a WH question? What had I studied for the exam? We now have enough understanding of the past perfect tense. However, there are some common mistakes that we generally make while framing the past perfect tense. Number one, mixing up simple past and past perfect. The past perfect tense describes actions completed before another action, while the simple past describes actions that happened at a specific time in the past. Here is a table to illustrate the difference. Instead of saying she had cooked food yesterday, say she cooked food yesterday. And instead of saying she cooked food before I arrived, you can say she had cooked food before I arrived. Remember, the past perfect is for actions completed before another action, while the simple past shows actions that happened in the past at a specific time. Mistake number two, forgetting the past participle. This is a common error, especially with irregular verbs. Make sure you use the correct past participle, not the base form of the verb. I had made a mistake. This is incorrect. The correct sentence is I had made a mistake. And number three, wrong form of the auxiliary verb. Please note, it's had for all the subjects in past perfect tense. For example, I have made a mistake is incorrect if you are referring past perfect. The correct sentence will be I had made a mistake. Now, let's look into some of the pro tips to master the past perfect tense. Number one, use time expression. Use words like already, before, by the time, and until to show the sequence of actions clearly. For example, left side has time expression and right side has example sentence. Already. She had already left by the time I arrived. Before. They had finished their homework before the deadline. Number two, sequence is the key. Remember, the past perfect talks about an action completed before another action in the past. Did an action happen first? Is there a sequence? These connections are what makes the past perfect relevant. We now have a good understanding of the past perfect tense. Let's sum up what we have learned with some practice sentences. She had studied for the exam. Is this sentence correct? This is incorrect. The correct sentence is she had studied for the exam. Can you make it negative? She had not studied for the exam. Let's make it in yes no form of question. Had she studied for the exam? Now let's make it WH form of question. What had she studied for the exam? So now we have learned about past perfect tense. We all know that practice makes us perfect. Let's test your newfound knowledge by correcting the following sentences. Also, write their negative and question forms. He had walked to the park. We had watched a movie. She hadn't studied for the exam. Pause the video, solve the exercise, and message your answer in the comments. I am waiting for your reply. I hope you would have given the correct answers. And to know my answers, please check the description of the video. So now let's solve the question that we looked at the start. Which of the following sentence is correct? I had completed my homework or I completed my homework. Both the sentences are correct but used in different context. Number 1, past perfect tense. I had completed my homework. This shows the action was completed before another past action. So it will be used in this way. If your friend asks you, did you complete your homework before the teacher arrived in the class? Then you can reply, when the teacher arrived, I had already completed my homework. Or I had completed my homework before the teacher's arrival. Number 2, simple past tense. I completed my homework. This states the action completed in the past. If your friend simply asks you when you completed your homework, you can say, I completed my homework yesterday. I hope now you are clear on past perfect tense. That's all in this video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. We will see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye.